This is going to be your guide for using Galarian Moltres in Pokemon Sword and Shield. Galarian Moltres looks like it's going to be pretty good. Not as insane as Galarian Zapdos or Regieleki, but still pretty solid. So let's go and break this one down. Its stats? Alright, we got 90 on the hit points, 90 on defense, 125 special defense. So I mean, if a special attacker is trying to chip away at it, or if you Dynamax this thing, it's going to survive more hits than it should, which is always a good thing, especially if you're trying to convert this Pokemon into a sweeper. 90 base speed. Well, that still puts us in Max Airstream range, so this thing's going to be pretty solid. And then 100 on the special attack. Not insane by itself, but if you can start putting stats... Oh, hey, Berserk. Yeah, if you can start putting stats into it, like with Berserk, then we have a +1, 100 special attack Pokemon, and now we're kind of getting on a new level of damage, while it also has the base legendary stats. So it can take a hit, it can do what it needs to set up, Berserk activates, and then it's going to be pretty scary to deal with. And Fiery Wrath, it won. It won the new move lottery. We have a 90 base power Dark special move. So more damage than the Dark Pulse, and it has a 20% chance to flinch. So it's just a better Dark Pulse for free on a Dark type special attacking legendary Pokemon. That's pretty good. So let's actually go back and talk about Berserk, because the only time we've seen this is with Drampa, and no one really used Drampa because it was a cool idea, but it just didn't really get the chance to execute its Berserk, because you take a hit, you're slow, so you might get like one Berserk boosted attack into something cool, and then that's it. But you don't really get too many opportunities to play around the Berserk, so when you go to half hit points or less, your special attack is raised by 1. Now the cool idea is like, oh, what if you like Citrus Berry back over it, and then the opponent hits you back down, and you get a +2, and then you get to like, you know, start one-shotting everything. But at the end of the day, Drampa was just a 36 speed Pokemon. This Moltres is now a legendary Pokemon that gets access to the Berserk, so let's see what we can do with it. And here's an idea for a moveset. Nasty Plot. Like, how perfect would it be if, as a legendary Pokemon, you get to use Nasty Plot, you take 50-ish% of your health, and then you're at +3 on a 100 special attack Pokemon that now has a signature move that's pretty good. That gets Stab. That's going to start one-shotting things. That's why I feel the Wise Glasses is good here. With Berserk, you don't want to get hit too much and then use Life Orb and then KO yourself on your own Life Orb recoil. Since you are going to be using other moves, I don't think the... What's the dark equivalent? It's also like glasses. I think it's like black glasses or something. Yeah, the black glasses. Well, if you're running that, then that means you're kind of sacrificing some of your stab, but dark hits a lot, so you can still get away with the black glasses as well. I just like the idea that, you know, Wise Glasses has an opportunity to work, but when are you going to get a chance to make Moltres look this cool? So you can run that as well. And then Hurricane or Air Slash can go here. That's when you go Dynamax, because when you Dynamax, depending on how much damage you took initially, you're still going to be able to survive a hit, and that's when you start popping off. So Timid Nature, +1 speed, you now outspeed tons of Pokemon, and then depending on where you are with the Berserk and Nasty Plot, you're going to be doing absurd things to the opponent, and that's why I like the Hurricane. The Hurricane is going to give you more damage on those Airstreams, and then when you're done with Dynamax, you just use Fiery Wrath to KO everything. But if you need that flying type move, well then Air Slash is going to work outside of it. 30% chance to flinch, so it gives you like more RNG if you're kind of in a pickle against a tanky Pokemon. But that lower base power, I feel like it's not really going to have too much usage, so there's that. And then Shadow Ball. Throughout the Shadow Ball, it's extra damage. If you're at +3 on a 100, you know, special attack Pokemon with the Wise Glasses, that's going to feel like a very powerful hit against something that isn't going to work with the Fiery Wrath. Like, this Pokemon just becomes a special sweeper, and it has the legendary stats to set up, and then it combos into its own Berserk. So that's pretty nice. Going over here, this is where we get cheeky with the Berserk. So you sub, and then you sub down to half, and then you rest, and then you just rinse and repeat as long as you can, depending on the opponents that you're going up against. Now, at level 50, this gets kind of jank, because you're going to be cutting your hit points in a quarter, and you want to land on half, because if you're above half, and then you sub, it's going to like kind of put you at lower health than you might want to be, so it could have some inconsistency and weird things going on. But if you want to get really picky about it, this is how it works, I think. I haven't really played around with Berserk and like sub health splits and fun stuff like that, but I think this is the right idea. If I'm wrong, there's probably someone in the chat that's going to say something, or maybe it doesn't matter, because if I'm subbing, then, you know, if I go below half and then I rest anyways, it's not really going to make too much of a difference. I just don't want to be in like a bad situation because I'm getting a weird hit point split. And then you just have Air Slash Fire Wrath. So you reset this as many times as you can for those Berserk procs. Chesto Berry lets you wake up once, so at least you can get 2 Berserk that way. But I mean, you set up a sub and now you're at +2 special attack, and you're just going to be a pretty strong Pokemon. Also, this is where the Modest comes into play, because you're probably not going to Dynamax this Moltres, so you're just going to try to outspeed everything that you can, and then you get that extra 10% damage off the Modest nature, ×2 special attack on the Berserk, using Stab, and then you're crushing everything, and sometimes you have a sub up just in case you're going up against, like, Stally Pokemon or something like that, or if the opponent goes for setup, now you have a sub, and then you get to hit them through the sub and potentially, you know, counter their setup because they weren't ready for the substitute into Berserk and some weird stuff like that. So it gets kind of weird when you start playing around it. Like, another idea is, oh, what about Citrus Berry? You get Citrus Berry on this Pokemon, you know, you take 60%, Citrus Berry pulls you up, you survive again, it's good. I don't like playing those numbers, so if you want to like really play around the Berserk ability, sub is going to be the best way of doing it, but it's still like not ideal. Like, I don't think this is that great of a moveset. I feel like if you're trying to anti-stall, there's better Pokemon for it. If you're trying to do like other weird setup things, it's not really the way to go, but it is a way of running the Galarian Moltres without eating up your Dynamax move slot, because that's how you really turn this Pokemon into a sweeper. You get Berserk to proc while you're getting Airstreams. Oh, now that's pretty ridiculous. And then you can also try to make this Pokemon get the Airstream without Dynamaxing and try to like combo everything together. So sub Salac Berry is my condensed way of making that last moveset a bit more understandable. So you just sub, and then you get Salac Berry and Berserk, and maybe you still have a sub up. You are going to be playing on a Razor's Edge, but at least you're a +1 90 speed Pokemon with the 100 special attack that's now at +1. You still got your coverage. I want to show the Ancient Power because it gets it. Doesn't really do too much, but it's kind of cool if, like, let's say Talonflame has already taken damage, so you don't have to worry about it being faster than you, and then you just one-shot it on the Ancient Power. Like, that's why it's there. If not, you can still run the Shadow Ball. Unfortunately, this thing doesn't get Roost, and Roost didn't come back as like a tutor or an extra TR or anything. So you can't like Roost Berserk combo infinitely against a Pokemon that can't KO you or something weird like that. There's Hex, but this Pokemon didn't get any fire, so it's not like it has the cheeky Will-O-Wisp to kind of be reminiscent of its normal like non-Galarian form. So there's no really crazy way of playing around that. So it's like, yeah, it's kind of limited in what it does, but it's still really strong. And so you just run this. You just run this, and you go Dynamax, and then you can find that way if you get that nasty plot set up. That's at least a +2. You get hit into Berserk. Well, now you have +1, +2 speed, +3 speed. Just use Hurricane Airstream 3 times. Get KOs along the way. You know, okay, so here's the thing. Nasty plot, take a hit. You Dynamax, Airstream, that's a KO. Maybe they bring in a Pokemon, they Dynamax, so then they survive, but you survive at like 1 hit point, so it also procs Berserk. So now you're at +3, Air Slash makes it another +2. They bring in another Pokemon, Air Slash again, that's +3, +3, and then you just Fiery Wrath it out on the Black Glasses, and then you win. That's like why I'm like, this is pretty good if that can actually get working on the Moltres, and that's probably what you should be focusing on more than trying to do cheeky Berserk things or getting too cute with a substitute and other moveset options. But also does have that chance to flinch, so it can bail you out of some really cool stuff as well. I saw a couple other movesets on the Verlisify fan Discord. If you want to join it, become a member on YouTube, sync up your YouTube and your Discord, and then you can get in that way. I saw some sets that were talking about the Assault Vest because you have such a high special defense. Like, wait a second. This thing is a surprise special defense tank with a 90 hit points, 125 special defense. You slap an Assault Vest on it, kind of nasty. You get Stab on the Snarl, also kind of nasty. Weakness Policy is an option on this Pokemon, so you can effectively run this, but with a weakness policy. And that's just like best case scenario. If you Dynamax, so you wouldn't want the nasty plot because you're getting that from the weakness policy, so then you can put in the Ancient Power or something. So if you Dynamax, use Airstream, take a super hit that drops you to below half, you win. This moveset does give you less autonomy because you're reliant on the opponent hitting you super effective, but Galarian Moltres does have a solid amount of weaknesses: Rock, Electric, Ice, Fairy. You're probably going to see at least one of those, and more than likely multiple of those inside of a Pokemon battle. The immunities are kind of cool. It's like, hey, just absorb a Psychic. So if there's some cheeky expanding force shenanigan that gets super meta, bring in the Moltres. Well, now, like, especially if it's like Scarf expanding force. bring in the Moltres, that's a free Nasty Plot, and then you win. Got some resistances you might be able to play around with the bulky stats. So, yeah, I can run Assault Vest, it can run Snarl. I just think that this is it. Whatever flavor you want for this, run it. Moltres gives you wins, and it could be a pretty cool Pokemon. It might be better than Galarian Zapdos just on how fast it can take off and if that Berserk comes through. But then Galarian Zapdos can like eat and Intimidate that the opponent can't do anything about because they're running Intimidate Pokemon. It'll eventually hit the field, and then Zapdos also gets more stats on that. So there's like a lot of weird interactions. I feel like with this one, you have to find the opportunity to get the Nasty Plot. With Galarian Zapdos, it's just get up and go. It hits the field anytime, and then it gets all the stats it needs. So these Pokemon are pretty awesome. Go have some fun with them. Very viable. Articuno coming up next, so if you don't get the notification, check out the channel. If you guys enjoy the video, hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.